Hello, everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed your lunch, and it's time for our next keynote session for today. My name is Ioana Buyanova, and I'm a manager at VMware Bulgaria. I'm here to introduce our next keynote speaker. She has her own fashion brand. She has her own restaurants in Seattle. She's an enthusiast of accessibility and AI. This is her 31st conference for this year. And also, she is a director of technology at Microsoft. Welcome on stage, Dona Sarkar.
Hello, Ista. How are you? Good. By the way, the coffee here is amazing, and I've had way too much of it, so pardon my extreme enthusiasm as we talk about things that will take our jobs. All right, who's ready for this? Everyone. Good. All right. So let's take a poll. How many of you are afraid that AI is going to kill you? Anyone? Anyone? Oh, we got one taker. We got one taker. OK, good. We got one AI is going to kill you. All right. We got two. OK, two. How many of you think AI is going to also take your job, though, before it kills you? OK, there we've got a few more hands. There we got a few more hands. OK, cool. That's good. That's good. That's good. Blissfully, you are all dev people. And that means that you get to control that, right? The rest of the world, when I give this talk in front of accountants and lawyers, about 50% of hands go up because they just don't have enough information. But you all, because you're incredibly brilliant tech people, you understand that what you're seeing is a hype cycle, okay? You're seeing a hype cycle. This is the traditional Gartner hype cycle that you're seeing behind me. And we've been through many of these in our time. Okay, we've been through the mobile phone hype cycle, we've been through cloud hype cycle, the metaverse hype cycle. This definitely feels like one. And I am no stranger to hype cycles because I worked on the first version of a thing called the Microsoft HoloLens. Have any of you heard of this thing? Okay, you have. It was a Windows 10 computer that you wear on your head. Okay? Now, when I say it like that, it sounds extremely stupid. But at the time, it made perfect sense. You're going to walk down the street. You're going to see, like, oh, this restaurant has amazing reviews. Here are the arrows leading to here and leading to there. Of course, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look like a cool pair of sunglasses. And I truly believed that this was going to happen. I believed in my heart and soul in 2014, when I started working on this, in 10 years, all of us would be wearing these things on our heads right now and walking around this conference. You notice none of us are doing that, thank God, right? This was a hype cycle that did not come to fruition. Did not. But if you see it, this AI infusion, AI explosion, it has all the hallmarks of a very traditional hype cycle. Big, life-changing, splashy launch last November. You remember the day ChatGPT came out? And suddenly your dad's calling you on the phone saying, do you know about ChatGPT? And you're like, oh no, oh no. Who told you about this? Who told you about this, right? So big, splashy launch, lots of marketing. There's like, you know, it's going to take over all the industries. It's going to take jobs. Look at all the magic tricks it can do. Then we all went home for holiday break, and suddenly everyone's talking about ChatGPT. And I'm thinking, you know, all of the money we spend on marketing and product naming and icons and UX, the biggest product launch of this decade is called ChatGPT, and it's a box. And that's it, right? That's all. All of you know what GPT means, but if you ask a normal person on the street, what is a GPT? They're like, I don't know, it's that thing you type questions into, right? But that is what a hype cycle does. It makes you believe that this is the answer to all of your questions. Now, for the last year and a bit, I have been working in this thing called the Microsoft Copilots. Microsoft's AI products are called Copilots. A lot more detail on Copilots in a minute. But I wake up every day, I get on Elon's Twitter, and I doom scroll AI news. Okay, this is my life now. Does anyone else doom scroll AI news? A few of you? Yeah, okay. So I doom scroll AI news, and the doom scrolling in the US generally looks a little like this. OpenAI, I am rich, Sam Altman did something weird. Right? Every day, it's some shenanigans like this. And then weird things started to happen. Weird things started to happen. There's a CEO of a very large tech company that you all know, and you all use this product. You should go look it up. He said, AI is more important than fire or electricity. And he said this unironically to a very large publication. It's the CEO of a company I'm not allowed to make fun of in public anymore. But you should all go look up who this is, and you should laugh at him. Not because he's not a good CEO, not because he's not brilliant, but this is a very stupid thing to say. Because AI is not more important than fire or electricity. That is a ridiculous concept. But because tech company CEOs are saying this, the thread bros of the world, the AI bros, they've decided that AI is killing industries. All right? They've decided that this is what AI is doing. AI has become like the greatest serial killer of our time, if you ask the thread bros. Ready? AI has killed data science. Apparently, data science is dead, dead, dead. Never mind, AI doesn't exist without data science, but please go on. AI has killed Excel. If you ask any finance person, they'll laugh at you. They're like, if Excel is dead, the economy's dead. Good luck. Thoughts and prayers. AI's killed PowerPoint. Well, AI's killed email. I don't know how you all found your way here without email, but AI has killed farmers. I don't know why AI has killed farmers, but apparently it's killed farmers, which is a little offensive to all of us who, love farmers. And then here's the one that makes me mad as a fashion business owner. AI has killed fashion influencers. Apparently, the way I'm going to get my fashion modeling done is by these headless DALL-E-generated images in fitting rooms. These are going to be my new models because there's no more fashion influencers. The world sucks, right? If AI's killed all these things, what's the point? Like, what really is the point? So because thread bros are active and tech CEOs are active, things are starting to get a little weird. I don't know if you saw this. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was an Onion article, but it wasn't. The UN, okay, this is not Donna's startup. This is the UN, a real place that exists here in Europe, had a press conference 2 months ago with 9 humanoid robots, 9 or 6. I can't read because I'm dyslexic. I think it's 9. 9 humanoid robots that answered questions about themselves to an audience of real journalists. And if you want to see the cringiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life, you should watch this press conference. And if any of you ever feel that you're a bad public speaker or a bad presenter, you will feel so good about yourself, because AI has not killed public speaking, let's be real. Okay, just watch it. It's so cringe. You will immediately give up all thoughts of, yeah, AI is not taking anyone's jobs, nor is it killing us. It can't even answer this question. And then people start getting odd. They're like, 2025, toasters will spit toast at you of their own free will. I'm like, really? That's the issue? This is my big life problem right now? I don't know. This guy over here on LinkedIn, okay, he went on LinkedIn and said, I'm done with dating. I have made up an AI model. She is my made-up wife. And we're going to have made-up children. I'm like, cool story, bro. Do you really want to talk about this on LinkedIn? But that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. You can make your own life choices. This guy made a little robot child, AI generated, and he danced with it on stage. And again, this is in front of people. Okay? They're doing this in front of people. People who they want to buy their products, use their services. And I'm like, I don't know, y'all getting weird. So of course the backlash is starting. People are already saying like, all the AI pundits or air quotes, people who don't actually have jobs, they just talk about stuff. They're already like, oh, AI's dead already. It's dead before it even started. I've stopped using ChatGPT. I'm back to Bitcoin stuff. Bitcoin is awesome. Those little ape stamps, what are they called? NFTs. NFTs are back. So people are just trying to work their way through the hype cycle. And that's because we're in this place called the trough of disillusionment. This is where most tech trends go to die. This is where they go to die. This is where the metaverse died. The trough of disillusionment. Couldn't find product market fit, couldn't find people to buy it, couldn't find people to really use it on the regular. When you use something as a party trick once a month, you fall into the trough of disillusionment and you stay there. But there's some beautiful news coming ahead, because we're about to go not the metaverse route, but the cell phone route, okay? So how many of you remember what a car phone is? Remember that big thing attached to your car with a cord? And if you made a call, it costs like 25 euros per second, right? unless your tire fell off in the middle of nowhere, do not use that phone, right? The rest of you are too young. Be grateful you missed this era. How many of you remember the Nokia flip phone, though? A bunch of people, right? OK. So do you remember the 3 things? And remember, these are 10 years apart. They were not close. The car phone era was 93, Nokia flip phone 2002. OK, 2002, there are 3 things you could do on this phone. Ready? You could call your friend without your mom listening in on the call because you're not in the kitchen. That's 1. You could text your friend after 8 p.m. without extra charges. Yes? 3, you could win at Snake. And that's it. But we were so badass at the time. We were so badass. Like, I got my flip phone. I got a cover. I have ringtones. How many of y'all had ringtones? Yeah. Yep, we had ringtones. And you know who got very rich from the Nokia flip phone era? Ringtone makers. Cover makers. Remember those at the mall? They would sell covers for your Nokia flip phone. You get iridescent ones. You'd switch them up. And you had ringtones for each friend. These were the people who got very wealthy during that early era of mobile phones. Nobody is getting rich from ringtones nowadays. In fact, your phone is on silent. If it rings, you're so offended. You're like, why are you calling me? You know to not call me without texting first. What are you thinking? Is it an emergency? Are you bleeding? Like, now you're offended, right? But friends, we're here for AI. We're in the Nokia flip phone era. We're not at the car phone era. We're not at the iPhone App Store era. But we're squarely in the Nokia flip phone era. And that is a beautiful place to be. Because that means, no, we're not too late. Despite what everyone will have you believe, we're not too late. And we're not too early. We're right there in the right moment. So next, what you're going to see is the plateau of productivity. And all of 2024 will be the plateau of productivity. This is when all of you will start figuring out, how does AI actually fit into my life and business? How can I use it to make my job better? How can I use it to make my customers' life better? And this is where we're going to be in 2024. So the reason this is different than previous hype cycles is because a few key things. First, adoption rate is really, really high. It's not like the metaverse where like some people, 4 people adopted it, abandoned ship, et cetera. Startups, because the cost of actually starting is not really high. There's 8,000 AI startups right now in Silicon Valley. This number is probably out of date since I'm talking to you about it. There's 1,000 a month. And these are not just in the Valley, they're all over. They're here. They're in Eastern Europe, they're in Africa, they're in Latin America. There are clearly measured productivity gains. How long did it take you to do X thing? How long does it take you now with the infusion of AI? You're seeing every tech giant, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, all of them are fully immersed in AI. Every single company has a chief AI officer now. Every single company. You're seeing corporations, even traditional corporations, even like that company who doesn't know what the cloud is. They're like, we want to do AI. How do you do that? You're like, step 1, get your data in order. Step 2, be in the cloud. They're like, oh, no. But corporations are leaning in. They're FOMOing. Every VC firm has become an AI investor at this point. Every single one. Global governments are like, oh, no, we got to regulate tomorrow. Usually they would regulate in 25 years after we've been doing this forever, right? And then tech leaders are quitting their jobs to go and lead AI in startups, in their own businesses. I've never seen anything like this in 25 years of being a software developer. Not once. I didn't see this with the shift to the internet. I didn't see this with the shift to the mobile, to cloud, to metaverse. I've never seen anything like this. And partly it's because we are technologically ready for it. We are ready for it. Before, it was like some laggards, some people in the future. We were tech people way ahead, everyone else way over there. But things are going to move really fast, and that's good. Because the era of us trying to convince companies to do this, it's not happening. They're raising their hand saying, we need to hire, and we need to hire yesterday. The #1 question I get right now is from big companies, very big companies, saying, we need to hire a chief AI officer. Get us one. I'm like, what, do I make them in a factory? Like, where do you want me to get you one? They were like, where should I go? I said, you need to grow them, friend. You need to grow someone who knows your business, who knows technology, who knows data, and combine them. You need to grow the skill in-house. They're like, well, that's work. I'm like, right. It's going to be work. It's going to be a lot of work. So one of the things that has been very interesting is all of the studies about productivity. BCG, Boston Consulting Group, just did this study last month that showed consultants doing the same kind of work, okay? Exact same kind of work, making PowerPoints about X thing, whatever it is, financial analysis, data modeling. One set did it with AI, the other set did it without AI. Same skill set, same sort of career level. The ones who used AI to do it did 43% better. The ones who didn't do 43% better. But what was very interesting was this really applied to those who are newer in career or people less good at their job. The people who are super experts, AI affected them 1 or 2%. It didn't make them infinitely better. So it is a very good equalizer for businesses to say, we wish there were more people who were good, and this is a good tool to raise people up to that level. So experts, if you learn to harness this correctly, you can be an expert. But I don't think we've figured out how to do that yet. But the people who are just starting to learn, this is an amazing superpower for early career or people switching into careers. I'm really enjoying seeing companies leaning into upskilling. Because I've never seen companies really leaning to upskilling in like a real way, as in, no, we need to see some output at the end. We want to employ people. We want to create jobs. IBM just announced they want to skill up 2 million people all over the world, specifically underrepresented people, because they realize we need to reskill 40% of the workforce, majority young people, early in career people. Things that used to be hard are getting easier. So because I worked in the metaverse, I had to learn a thing called Unity. Does anyone else know Unity? Yeah. Does anyone else cry because of Unity? Yeah, exactly. So most people had Netflix and chill. I used to have Unity and cry. That was my life. But now, because of this company called Photor, and you're going to see in future versions of GPT, you can generate 3D models like this of anything you want without doing Unity and cry. It is amazing, because this is the kind of thing that held back digital twins, it held back the metaverse, because we just did not have talented people to build 3D models that rotate and do things. But the world's changing so fast that this knowledge is everywhere, and it's approachable. This is the Tokyo airport. Tokyo airport. It's wild, right? It's pretty wild. Now, this knowledge is approachable, it's everywhere, but companies are also AI companies are getting serious about responsible AI. One thing that I've been pushing on a lot lately is talking about how do you make sure these data sets that AI is trained on are not as biased. And AI companies are starting to figure out, like, we nerds are not going to make an unbiased AI model. So we need help. And I recommend you all sign up for this, because most of you speak another language. OpenAI has started this open red teaming network. So people who have specific skills, whether it's cognition, different languages, anthropology, cybersecurity, whatever background you come from, you can lend help. And it's a paid activity. They pay you to participate in this, to help debias some of the models and add layers of expertise to it, so it's more useful for people in your industries and in your own language. Now, what I like about this is that red teaming is generally something that happens before the model goes out into the world. So you will be red teaming models that are not out yet. So we have a chance to debias models before they go out and hit the world. Because as you know, most of these models are trained by American people on the west coast of the US, which is less helpful for all of you, less helpful for most people in the world. Turns out for 194 countries, it's not as useful. Right? So I like seeing this. I thought this was a good idea they did. So it might seem like everybody is building AI products, and actually they are. I work at Microsoft. I babysit our AI products called copilots. Does anyone want to guess how many copilots we have released? All right, who wants to guess 20? Hands. Okay. Okay, can I get a 50? 50. Who guesses 75? 75. Who guesses 100? Who guesses above 100? Who guesses above 150? No one. 155 copilots. 155 copilots, okay. And there's some boring ones, okay? They're not all very interesting, honestly. Like Viva Glint, what's that? Nothing. You don't need to use it. Liquid Copilot, don't use it. Some weird framework. But there's some really good ones. There's really good ones. 3 I use constantly. I'm going to show you a quick demo. GitHub Copilot, magical for devs. Teams Recap Copilot, magical for devs because now you don't have to go to meetings. Right? So I babysit those copilots, and I'll explain to you my work exactly. This is early days. We've only been making copilots for a year. This is just a year of copiloting. I have never seen this company that I've worked at for 19 years churn code like this. I've seen some teams that I thought did not exist churn code this year. I'm like, you're still alive? Project? You have a copilot? I thought this code was on ice, right? I have never seen petabytes of code churn in a company that's older than me. It is wild to see it. And it is wild to see so many other companies jump on this bandwagon and do this. So, you know what AI is. I don't have to explain it to you, but I just want to refine some terminology. The word we use a lot is LLM, large language model, which is GPT. But I would love for us to change now and start using the term foundation model. Now, I'm going to make you all repeat it with me. Say it with me. Foundation model. Foundation model. OK, here's why. Because GPT-4 is not a language model. All of the magic of DALL-E 3, Codex, which generates code, are all merged into GPT-4. OK? You've seen GPT-4 Vision, which can take a picture of something and do stuff with it. Now, foundation model generates many things, not just language. It generates code, images, graphs, videos. GPT Next will generate even more things. Now, it's really important we start using these kind of terminology because all of the other terminology that we're going to have to life coach people on will become even more important. Okay? Prompting, what you do into the UX. Meta prompting, what you do into the actual API call. But it's the same, the exact same. Fine-tuning is retraining the model with your data. A lot of people are like, oh, I fine-tuned this AI. I'm like, no, you didn't. You refined it. That's not fine-tuning. If you're fine-tuning a model, suddenly you're going to have to go through the entire machine learning Python process. Good luck. And then temperature. Temperature is how you say, how random do you want this output to be? 0, very specific, very truthful. 1, creative. Write me a poem about ponies, right? So the key players, right, that I deal with, you know these players. You know OpenAI, ChatGPT. Azure OpenAI service, which is what I work on, it's the enterprise GPT, where you reason over your own company's data. You don't reason over data from Wikipedia to give you results. And Bing Chat Enterprise is the free way to get it, to get a free access to your own enterprise data without your data leaving your tenant and nothing from the external world coming into your data source. Now, I'm going to give you 4 quick demos, and we're not going to sit through all these because I'm sure you've seen some of these. Bing Chat is pretty much like ChatGPT plus but free. So that's why I'm like, you want the same thing but free, you can use Bing Chat Enterprise. Oh, that one was fun because it was write C++ code to reverse a string. I'm like, interviews, hello, this is going to be hilarious, right? Rather than asking people to write code, I ask them to use AI to write code for me now. That's how I do my interviews, because that's what we're going to have to do. I'm like, write code using AI, now drive efficiency into it, get me to big O notation 1. This is how I ask questions, and I watch how they use AI to do it, because this is the future. That's how they're going to work. Having them write code from scratch on a whiteboard makes no sense anymore. Edge Copilot, because I'm dyslexic, I can't read large quantities of text. You could do this with a PDF and just say, summarize this into 5 actionable bullet points for me. I use this all the time because I cannot read large quantities of text. OK, this is cool. Teams Copilot Meeting Recap. I think Zoom has this, other people have this, but I don't see people using it. Dear devs, stop going to meetings, start recapping. Okay? So record a meeting, you get this beautiful recap back, and please ignore all the internal private data I'm showing you. And it also calls out like where somebody called you in a meeting. They're like, I think I'd love to hear from Donna in this. I'm like, oh, got called out at minute 30, I should respond. Because of this, I now I go recap, read 10 meetings, go back and watch the recording of 1. But I'm in Europe for a month. I'm attending exactly 0 Pacific time meetings. I'm just recapping all of them. And I've missed nothing. I've missed absolutely nothing. This is a game changer for developers. Power Automate Copilot. People are like, how do you automate stuff? I'm like, through low code. You figure out what you want to do. Send me a text whenever my boss emails me, because I don't check email anymore, because I have Outlook Copilot for that. I don't go to meetings anymore, because I have Teams Copilot for that. So I just get a text when my boss emails me. And I'm like, yes, on it, getting right on that. But it generates the flow for you, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, my favorite, GitHub Copilot. How many of you have used GitHub Copilot? OK, a bunch of people in the room. OK, I want to show you GitHub Copilot Chat, which is you just click that thingy, and then the chat window opens up. And then you say, like, what is the purpose of the create completion function? And it'll say, like, what does this do? What does this thing do? And then it'll think about its existence for a minute, and then it'll analyze, and then it'll tell you what it does. This is very useful for legacy code bases, because who likes a legacy code base? No one. And to actually have an answer given to you and act like you're smart because you figured it out, that's pretty cool. I do like that. I appreciate that. So I love GitHub Copilot Chat. But the thing that I think not enough people use is ChatGPT's, they renamed it again, to advanced data analysis. Okay? This is very useful, and I recommend you try it. It's in, what is it? ChatGPT Plus. So you go to the top there, and you drop it down, and you say, you upload a file, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be an Excel, a Power BI, an image, whatever. And you say, analyze it and give me something. So I was hiring, and I needed interview questions, but I didn't want to come up with them. So I uploaded the job description, and I said, generate me 5 good interview questions. And it gave me pretty good ones. This is really good for images. It's really good for analyzing large swatches of data. So really fun hack. Soon this will come to normal ChatGPT, but it is a thing that I really recommend you try out if you haven't. Now, there are certain things AI is good for, but not everything, right? Not everything. I was helping some customer support people last week, a few weeks ago, and they said, how can I even start? And I said, start with something really simple and really basic. Like any customer support desk has the exact same problem, which is tickets come in, they have to categorize the tickets. It's right now some poor schmo's job to categorize the tickets into categories and say, this is website, this is returns, this is general complaints, et cetera. Use AI, the actual categorization technique, to say, these keywords put here, these keywords put here, these keywords put here. Just do that, because that's cleared up people from doing this horribly mind-numbing, boring thing. Then get creative and do the other things. Analyze the info in the ticket. Get answers easily from various data sources. Like upload these data sources and give me an answer to this question. Summarize these workarounds. Create a first draft. Automate these tasks. These are the kinds of things AI is good for. Repetitive, boring, things you could do a million times. Something where you can spot an error very easily because you're an expert. I do believe that everyone has a role to play in the AI verse. It doesn't matter where you lay on the technical scale. A lot of people think that, oh, I don't really have a role to play because I'm not a machine learning expert. I'm not a machine learning expert. I'm a C++ dev. And people who are machine learning experts tell you not everyone needs to be one. Because very rarely are you going to be building a model, training a model, fine-tuning a model. Very rarely. If you are going to be doing it, learn machine learning, right? And these are 2 people I work with who are machine learning experts. And they will tell you that documenting AI models for things you need to know is probably the biggest chunk of change in their job. They will also tell you, please check your sources. Don't just ask for sources, but check them. Because ultimately, AI is kind of like that one drunk friend you have who's really smart, but damn do they spout nonsense, right? Who has that friend? All of you have that friend, yeah. We're in the Balkans. We all have that friend, trust me. No shade on Balkans. I say this in every country. It's true, though. There's a lot of hallucinations. There are ways to reduce it, but that's a whole art and science of itself. I can talk to you for 1 hour on how to reduce hallucinations, and then in the next minute, I'm like, well, that didn't work. The second role is the actual expert in the problem space. You probably work with these people in your companies often. They're the people in HR, legal, finance, operations. They understand the issues, but they're not necessarily technical. But they need to be part of the equation because they understand the customer. They understand the problem. They understand a good solution. They understand an amazing solution. And they're the people you want to pull closer. So when you're building a solution for them, they're actually going to use it versus flinging some AI thing over the wall and they have no idea how to use it or why you're giving this to them. The third one is probably where most of you fall in, which is the builder. They're the ones who are going to design the solution by talking to the business expert. They're going to research existing tools and build a prototype. You're going to get user feedback and build the final version. This is probably where you are. Your job as a product maker is exactly the same as it's always been, just probably working with the experts a little bit more, because this problem is so much more personal. Then the fourth role is a new job. And it's an evolution of old school tester, because now it's got a bunch of fancy new titles. Tester, so last year. Red teamer, so this year. Guess how much red teamers get paid? Lots of money, that's how much. So, validator, red teamer, admin, deployer, you're going to see lots of job titles start popping up for this. You're going to see a lot of job titles. So go do a search term on red teamer. You'll see so many jobs pop up. And this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful space for any of you who come from a liberal arts background. Because we need expertise of people from not tech to make this tech not suck, honestly. And these are the people, they make sure that the solution actually solves the problem correctly, right? Not bad, deploys to the right people, and most importantly, teaches people to use it. The biggest problem we're going to have with AI is that the timeline of how long things take is dramatically different. Nowadays, how AI is going to work is getting your data together so you can actually use AI on it will take 40% of your time. Building the thing, most of it's very low code. It's only going to take 20% of your time. Teaching people to use it will take 40% of your time. That's what we're seeing across the board, 155 copilots worth of data at this point. And these are technical people we're teaching this to, but no one knows how to use it to maximize its fullest power. No one knows how to check sources. No one knows how to do any of these things that are new concepts. So this validator, deployer, red teamer role will be the most important role because it's new and it touches the human the most. So you're going to start seeing experts being hired to train models. So keep an eye for these things. Look at the requirements. Proficient in physics, not computer science, in physics. You're going to see, I saw anthropology expert, archaeology expert, French expert. These are what we're seeing when we need, and say like, review pairs of physics problems and tell us which is good. Because hell if a bunch of machine learning people can tell you about physics. No. So you're going to see so many other people being hired to train AI models. And it's about to get really exciting to see so many people start getting into the tech space. A question I get asked a lot about is responsible AI. I'm a huge believer in responsible AI because it's not just about ethics. It's about all of the things that make companies and data protected. So let's go through them really quickly. One is, of course, fairness, which is race and gender, making sure there's equitable AI products being made. Second one is reliability and safety. This is, if you ask your AI a question that it wasn't trained to do, please do not give terrible answers. Like if you're building a chef AI and someone's like, how do you make a poison? Do not give that answer. Thank you. I know you're not trained to not give the answer, but don't give it. Third, your data is yours, privacy and security. Your data does not leave the premises of this box, and nothing from the outside world enters, right? Nothing exits, nothing enters, if that's how you set up your product to be. Inclusiveness, this is accessibility for people with disabilities, and also ageism. Ageism is a major, major thing in AI. Transparency, being very clear. These answers are AI generated, dear customer. If you have a question, please consult the human in the loop, which is the last one, accountability. Making sure there's a feedback option so the human in the loop can either review the feedback or do something about it. But these are responsible AI principles from Microsoft. Every company is going to have their own. They're all going to be very, very similar. But if you're implementing AI in your business, make sure you have a set of responsible AI principles. Most of these laws, by the way, they already exist, because we've already gone through this rigmarole with cloud and data. And most of this is relevant to Europe and the US and Canada. So if you look up, if you're a real compliance person, which I'm not, but I know all of these laws, you can find that most of the data protection work has already been done for you. So I built an accessibility copilot for my previous team. And the responsible AI practices I put in were, I stated clearly that this is an AI product. I said, I'm an AI agent. I only answer accessibility questions. I called the moderation endpoint to filter out any hate speech or anything strong bias. I set the temperature variable to low to prevent randomness, because I don't need speculation and fiction about accessibility. I just need to answer questions like which screen reader is best. I explained the reasoning behind the answers. And these are all things you just set in code. I said, explain your reasoning. Why did you come to this? Cite your sources. And then I like to have a human validate that these answers are real. So for the top 50 questions that are asked, we had a human validate the answers, and then we let the AI actually answer things on its own. But we went through a whole process. It was not something we turned on overnight. We said only for these 50 questions. And now it's actually quite accurate. And my code chunk literally looks like this. And I'm not kidding. It's basic JavaScript. Call the OpenAI create completion API, and you can see that the prompt is exactly what I put there. I set the temperature to 0. I upped the tokens to 4,000, by the way, not 60. And my data source said, I'm not kidding, Dona's legit data sources.txt, because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. So I took all of our internal accessibility guides, links to them, put them in a text file, and that was the data source I used. And that was it. AI is not a high-code activity. It's just not, which is going to be kind of funny for us, because most of our work is now going to be here and not here. Most of it's going to be figuring out where are our data sources, is it good? OK, built it. How do I teach people to use it? Because teaching people to use this has taken me 1 year. Building it took an hour. It took a day. Getting the data together took a while. So just from these experiences, I'll tell you, the number of people I'm going around the world and talking to about supercharging their careers is everywhere. This first one, I was in Australia, the Australia government. Second one, I was in the UK talking to young grads. Third one, these are people who work with accessibility. But everyone has a chance to supercharge their careers with AI. So I would love for all of you to look at yourself or your business at this scale. To look at this scale and think about where you're at right now. Are you at level 1, where you've tried out a few tools and it's fairly sporadic, unspecific usage? Are you at level 2, where you've adopted a product? You've taken it home like a pet. You use it daily, weekly. This is part of your life now. Is it the third thing, where you've extended an AI product with your own data, and you're doing interesting things like meta prompting, fine-tuning, retrieval augmented generation, or plugins? Or have you built your own AI product from an existing model, level 4? Or are you building and training your own models, level 5? Think about where you're at, and think about how you can raise your level by one of these steps in the next 3 to 6 months, because that will elevate your business like nothing you've ever seen. What I'm working on is I am babysitting our copilots. Adopt a copilot, like some things are good out of the box, like GitHub Copilot, Security Copilot, Azure, Power BI, et cetera, fine. Extend copilots through these things called plugins, like Dynamics, Power Platform, Azure OpenAI Services, ground in your own data. Take an out-of-the-box copilot, ground in your own data. And the third one is using the copilot stack to build your own, doing it through low-code or high-code. And I spend all my time in that middle one, because no one is really at the point where they're ready to build their own AI products. Every company wants to ground in their own data, but no one is ready to go out there and say, yeah, I'm going to build my own from scratch. Very few. So because it's me, there's always homework, and I have 4 homework assignments for you all today. 1, learn to ask good questions. This is where being a human is very useful. How would you ask questions and prompt somebody who is an intern from last summer? Think about your intern from last summer. They're not an expert. They're not the brightest. They can be cajoled to do stuff, but they need a little bit of help, right? Second, get your data and formation. If you want to do AI in your business next year, you got to get your data and formation this year. I like different data lakes for different problems. HR gets a data lake. Finance gets a data lake. Otherwise, it's chaos, and then you're worried about data security. Third, figure out your skilling and governance plan. How are you going to teach people to use this? Because that's going to take a very long time. And what does governance look like? Who can go and implement AI products in your company? Who can just download stuff? Who can put data into this box? Because what you need is everyone in your company putting the data into the box you've created and not anything else in the world. And 4, think of one business process that you'd like to make simpler or take less time. And that's it. Something that's simpler, less time. Choose something that you know very well. So if the AI product is doing a totally terrible job of it, you're able to see that. The big mistake people do is they go pick some process they're not good at, and then they're not able to say that this AI is doing it better or not. But the quickest way to measure efficiency of an AI product is to say, it took me X much time. With AI, it's X divided by 2, because you are the expert. So if you'd like to join my Copilot cult crew, marketing says stop calling it a cult, and stay up to date on all things AI and Copilots at Microsoft, you can join me at aka.ms/li Copilot crew. It's a LinkedIn Copilot crew. But I wish you all the best. And just keep in mind, Nokia flip phone era, we're in the early days. Please go forth and do the thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, for the inspirational talk. Personally, I'm not going to look at AI the same way as before. So we're going to have 10 minutes break, and we're back for our next talk. Thank you.